Hello there, sleepyhead. It's a perfect night for a story, isn't it? Well, I have a very special one for you tonight. It's called The Lion, the Mouse, and the Sleepy Bear. So go on, find your favorite spot in bed, get all cozy and warm, and let your eyes drift closed. Are you comfy? Good. Let's begin. Once upon a time, deep, deep in a forest where the trees were so tall they whispered secrets to the sky, and the ground was like a soft green carpet, lived all sorts of wonderful animals. And our story is about a very little mouse who had a very, very big problem. You see, his neighbor, in the cave right next door, was a great, big bear. And this bear had been sleeping all winter long and making a very, very loud sound. It was a sound a little bit like thunder, a deep, rumbly, grumbly snore that made the ground tremble and the little mouse's whiskers wiggle. It was so loud, the poor mouse just couldn't get to sleep. He tried talking to him. "Mr. Bear," he squeaked, "it's summertime. Time to wake up." But the bear just snored right on. He even found a little horn and blew with all his might. Toot toot! But still, that bear didn't even stir. The little mouse just sat down with a big sigh. His home was too noisy, the bear was too sleepy, and he felt he was just too small to fix it all by himself. What could he possibly do? And then, suddenly, a little idea popped right into his head. Wait a minute. There was one animal in the forest who was bigger and louder than anyone else. The lion. He was the king of the forest. Surely he could help. So the little mouse, feeling very small but trying to be very brave, tiptoed all the way to the lion's den. And wow, the lion was so big and strong, with a beautiful fluffy mane and a very proud look on his face. The mouse's little heart was beating like a tiny drum. Well, the mouse explained his noisy problem, but the mighty lion just yawned a big, lazy yawn. He looked down his big nose at the tiny mouse and said, "You are not even big enough to be a smack. I am the king, and I have very important kingly things to do. I certainly don't have time for the tiny problems of a tiny mouse." Oh, that poor mouse. His little ears drooped and his whiskers trembled. With a very heavy heart, he turned around and started the long, lonely walk back home, with the bear's loud snores rumbling in the distance. But on his way, he heard a strange noise coming from behind a big tree. It was a funny, wiggly, squirmy kind of sound. It went itchy, itchy, scratch, scratch. What could it be? The mouse peeked around the tree, and what do you think he saw? It was the mighty lion, and he was covered in teeny tiny little jumping bugs called fleas, and they were making the big king of the forest so itchy. Now, even though the lion had been so unkind, the little mouse had a very good heart. He forgot all about being sad and squeaked, "Mr. Lion, let me help you." Before the lion could even say no, that brave little mouse leaped right onto his back. He used his tiny paws to search carefully through the lion's thick fur, and one by one, he found every single one of those pesky, itchy fleas and just flicked them away. And soon, the itching stopped. The lion felt so much better. He looked at the little mouse and felt very embarrassed. "Thank you," he rumbled softly. "I was so rude to you, but you still helped me. You solved my big, itchy problem, and I didn't even listen to your big, noisy one." The lion smiled, and it was a true, gentle smile this time. "Hop on," he said. "Let's go take care of that noisy neighbor of yours." And so the little mouse climbed right onto the great lion's back, and the king of the forest carried his tiny new friend home. But as they got closer to the mouse's house, they heard that familiar sound again, just as loud as ever. Snore! That sleepy bear was still fast asleep. The mouse looked up at the lion with worried eyes, but the lion just winked. He knew exactly what to do. He walked to the entrance of the bear's cave. He puffed out his big, furry chest, took a very, very deep breath, and he let out a roar so big it seemed to fill the whole forest. It wasn't an angry roar, oh no. It was a deep, powerful, "good morning, it's time to wake up" kind of roar that echoed from the tallest trees to the deepest caves. Well, that sleepy bear jumped up with a start, rubbing his eyes. What happened? Is it summer already? He mumbled. The snoring had finally stopped. The forest was peaceful and quiet at last, and our little mouse could finally get some sleep. The lion and the mouse became the best of friends, and they both learned a very important lesson that day. No matter how big or how small you are, a little bit of kindness can make a very, very big difference. And now, as you drift off to sleep, maybe you can think of someone you can show a little kindness to tomorrow. Sweet dreams.